It's all covered in today's China Truths.
30 years later, everyone who bought high-rise residential buildings will realize they have become the biggest fools. This is the inevitable fate of high-rise residential buildings in China, a destiny sealed from the start. Because we began late and ordinary people lacked understanding, they rushed to buy high-rise apartments during the urbanization boom of recent years. In reality, this behavior was no different from sticking out their necks and waiting for the sickle of capital to fall. High-rise residential buildings carry a fatal curse that guarantees they cannot end well. The land sellers won't tell you, and the developers even less so. What is this curse? Simply put, no one will want to inherit these high-rises in the future. In recent years, as China's urbanization accelerated, populations flooded into cities. To meet the soaring demand for housing, high-rise buildings mushroomed. Especially in the so-called golden cities, towers rose rapidly, constantly reshaping the skyline. However, as time marches on, the hidden rot of high-rise living has surfaced. Experts warn that high-rise properties offer limited appreciation, yet their maintenance costs are exorbitant, destined to become sky slums. In fact, Shenzhen already has examples. Today we address the grim reality of high-rise slums. Meiling, it is almost unbelievable that a real-life high-rise slum exists at the border between Shenzhen and Dongguan. In Guanjing-2, Dongguan City, a garden community built in 1993 now stands in ruin. Only a little over 30 years old, yet its outer walls are crumbling. Many owners fled early, unable to bear the dismal conditions. Step into this area and you are overwhelmed by a decaying stench, as if you had entered a real slum. One can hardly imagine what today's dozens of stories towers will look like after 30 years. Data shows that by the first half of 2024, over 30,000 fires have broken out in high-rise buildings nationwide over the past decade. Elevator accidents in residential towers make up a large portion, mainly due to overloading, overuse, and lack of maintenance. Blogger Singe points out that the first generation of super high-rises is about to enter a rapid aging phase. Once that happens, hidden dangers will multiply. Super high-rises refer to buildings with over 40 floors. Buildings, like people, have a life cycle. And the older a super high-rise gets, the more dangerous it becomes. Once the aging wave hits, elevators will break down constantly. Water and electricity systems will fail frequently. Leaks, seepage, and wall decay will become everyday problems, growing worse with each passing year. If you live above the 30th floor, facing a fire will be a nightmare because in most cities, fire equipment simply cannot reach above the 30th floor. Especially in old buildings from the 80s and 90s, where the living experience is already miserable and hidden dangers are everywhere. Now, with high-rise buildings aging rapidly, the future looks grim. Once problems surface, who will step in to fix them? Developers abandon responsibility once they sell. Maintenance costs will soar. These buildings can't be demolished either. No developer is willing to touch them, and demolition costs are astronomical. Think about it. Replacing or reinforcing elevators in these towers will cost a fortune. But who will pay? Don't expect the property fund to cover it. It's nowhere near enough. Living on the 63rd floor feels like floating in the sky. I listed this unit for auction at 4.19 million yuan in April 2020. By 2025, the price has plunged to 3 million, and still, no buyers. I bought it brand new for 4.5 million yuan. I've lost 1.5 million already, not even counting the interest on my loan. Super high-rise apartments are nothing but giant traps. Yes, I was the one who bought the top floor on the 63rd floor in Guangzhou. My home is in Guangdong New City, Yuan district. Now I can't sell it. I don't dare to live in it. I am crushed by despair. Every day, waiting for the elevator drives me insane. Sometimes I seriously think about learning parachuting skills and keeping a parachute at home. Thank God there are no earthquakes in Guangzhou. Otherwise, escape would be impossible. Living in a super high-rise is truly terrifying. I pray every day that no fire breaks out. The fire ladder can't reach here. We are over 200 meters above the ground. An elderly resident once said in an interview, "Living high up, my biggest fear is fire. If it happens, there's nowhere to run, only to wait for death." One time, there was a fire next door. I broke out in a cold sweat, hurriedly packed essentials to flee, but the elevator was dead. and the stairs filled with smoke. I couldn't get down. I could only wait for rescue. That was the most terrifying moment of my life. This blogger had a similar nightmare. The elevator stopped suddenly while going up to the fourth floor. It was horrifying. On the fourth floor, the elevator suddenly shook. The lights went out. I couldn't reach property management. Oh my God, the elevator had already shaken once before. I don't dare to take it anymore. One day it might kill me. Before, I could at least contact the property. Now I can't even do that. When it shook at the fourth floor, 2 signal bars were left, but no explanation was given. This elevator has had issues multiple times. At 1:30 a.m., 4 people were trapped inside for 25 minutes. Blogger Diane reminds everyone, never buy a high-rise unit. He said he bought a 20th floor apartment for the great view and lighting. After almost 3 years living there, he finds more and more problems, and he regrets it deeply. First, there's the noise problem. When I first moved in, no one lived upstairs or downstairs. But as time went on and neighbors moved in, the sound of kids screaming and high heels stomping nearly drove me insane. I had to negotiate with them constantly. Sometimes things got tense. But this is what it is. We're neighbors, like it or not. Second, the elevator problem. Every morning during rush hour, the elevator is packed. I have to wait at least 10 minutes just to get downstairs. It's frustrating and exhausting. Third, the mobile signal on higher floors is terrible. I never expected this when I bought the place. But the higher you live, the worse the signal gets. I have to walk around just to get a call through. It's like my phone became a landline. Fourth, the water supply and heating, my biggest headaches. At night, when water usage peaks, water flow becomes weak or cuts off completely. Heating is even worse. Every winter, I call 12345 to complain. Their answer? 18 degrees or more meets the standard. Basically, the heating fee is wasted. I have a child at home. I worry constantly about catching a cold. When it gets really cold, we have to rely on the air conditioner. This issue alone makes me rethink living on such a high floor. Fifth, I live in fear of power outages. Have you ever climbed 20 floors? I have. Once the power went out and I climbed all the way up. I was drenched in sweat. The moment I walked through the door, my wife asked, "Are you trying to lose weight or something?" This place makes me feel unsafe. During storms, the entire building sways. When lightning strikes, it feels like it hits inside the apartment. Blogger Chen Xiaosu and her husband paid over 3 million yuan for a 60-story high-rise unit. She said she regrets it every single day. Living 200 meters in the air is a nightmare. Living in a 200-meter high-rise feels like a constant gamble. The elevator often breaks down. When it does, or during power outages, we climb 60 floors on foot. At this height, there's no sense of safety. The railing is barely a meter tall, lower than my height. Looking down while lying here is terrifying. It's even more dangerous for kids. I offered to pay to seal the corridor railings, but management refused. I'm not afraid of heights, yet my legs shake when I stand by the railing. It's exposed to wind and rain. Screws rust, loosen, and fall off. One mistake, and it's over. Though the view is wide and lighting good, the building sways when it's windy. It's nerve-wracking. In case of fire, we're helpless. The fire ladder only reaches 100 meters. We're at 200. Firefighters can't save us. If flames rise, we're trapped. Fire kills, this is no joke. One blogger on the 50th floor shared how to survive a high-rise fire. She stayed up all night writing a guide. Her advice? Touch the door handle with the back of your hand. If it's hot, stay inside. Block door gaps with wet towels and wait. If it's not hot, check for smoke. If clear, crouch and escape via the stairs. But be quick. Smoke rises fast in a chimney effect. Within 30 seconds, fire can reach the top of a 100-meter tower. We once believed high-rises offered better living. Now we're learning the hard truth. The higher you go, the harder it gets. Maintenance is costly, and in 25 years when problems start, cracked walls, weak water pressure, broken pipes, costs will skyrocket. The community fund won't cover it. It's a bottomless pit. Think you can sell it later? Think again. As population shrinks and demand drops, these towers may become unsellable. Their height alone is a death sentence. The real issue isn't just firefighting limits or inflated public areas. It's that these buildings were built to maximize profits, not sustainability. No one planned for aging or renewal. Buy one now, and you may be stuck with a ticking time bomb.
Xi Jinping's visit to Macau, another achievement project exposed as a failure, Hengqin Island like a ghost town. During his recent visit to Macau, Chinese leader Xi Jinping toured the Hengqin Guangdong Macau Deep Cooperation Zone, a development project he has been promoting. However, visitors to the area revealed that the economic zone resembles a ghost town. Since Xi Jinping came to power, many of his so-called achievement projects have been exposed as having been abandoned or left unfinished. Furthermore, under the CCP's continued crackdown in recent years, Macau's economy, especially its gaming industry, has suffered severe setbacks. On December 20th, Xi Jinping concluded his visit to Macau and returned to Beijing. According to his itinerary, he stayed in Macau from December 18th to 20th. During his visit, Xi attended the swearing-in ceremony of the 6th Macau government and inspected the Hengqin Guangdong Macau Deep Cooperation Zone, among other activities. According to Xinhua News Agency, on the morning of December 19th, Xi visited the Hengqin Guangdong Macau Deep Cooperation Zone and toured the exhibition titled Harmony Between Macau and Hengqin, exhibition on the construction of the Hengqin Guangdong Macau Deep Cooperation Zone. The report noted that the development and construction of Hengqin has been a project that Xi Jinping personally planned, personally deployed, and personally promoted. The Hengqin Guangdong Macau Deep Cooperation Zone is located in the southern part of Zhuhai's Xiangzhou district, adjacent to Macau in the city of Zhuhai. It is jointly governed by Macau and Guangdong Province. The zone has a total population of 53,040 and controls the entire Hengqin Island. It began operating under a closed-loop system on March 1, 2024. Hengqin Island was announced for development in 2009 by then Vice President Xi Jinping. The Hengqin New Area of Zhuhai was officially established as China's third national-level new area, with an initial investment of over 72.6 billion Chinese yuan or about $9.9 billion US. Subsequently, there were also investments amounting to hundreds of billions of yuan in supporting infrastructure, such as high-speed rail. According to Radio Free Asia, developing Hengqin has become one of Xi Jinping's major political achievements. As a project close to his heart, Xi has visited the area 5 times. Official data shows that Hengqin's development appears to be progressing well, but what is the reality? Recently, a real estate agent inspected several large residential estates at night and pointed out that the occupancy rate was only about 30 to 40%. Even the first integrated housing project for Macau residents, Macau New Neighborhood, which was originally intended to provide more than 4,000 units, was nearly empty with no visible lights on. It is estimated that the occupancy rate is less than 10%. The real estate agent then visited another residential development, Huarongkan, located near the border crossing and initially attracting many investors. Again, less than 10% of the units had their lights on. The commercial streets in the Central Exchange also showed sparse foot traffic. In a newer shopping mall, Innovation Square, half of the shops were closed, and there was hardly any foot traffic in the afternoon. The restaurants had less than 10% occupancy. The person filming bluntly stated, "This Innovation Square, aside from a few amusement rides, seems to have nothing else going for it. It's completely dark, like it's been shut down." After returning to Beijing, Xi Jinping's visit to Macau was lauded by state-run media. On December 21, the People's Daily published a commentary that claimed the 25 years since Macau's return to China marked the happiest period for local residents, and hailed it as a huge success recognized worldwide. However, Macau's economic backbone, its gaming industry, has been severely impacted in recent years. The CCP has labeled the cross-border flow of capital for gambling as a national security risk and implemented a harsh crackdown on foreign gambling activities, leading to a deepening crisis in Macau's gaming sector. In July this year, the chairman of the Sun City Group, Alvin Chow, nicknamed Xiaomi Hua, was sentenced to 18 years in prison by the final court ruling. Furthermore, Chow and 8 other defendants were fined up to 24.865 billion Hong Kong dollars, or about $3.2 billion in penalties. Chow, known as Macau's little gambling king, had expanded his business empire beyond gaming, venturing into sectors such as finance, real estates, and films. His group's operations extended overseas, and he had become one of the wealthiest individuals in Hong Kong and Macau. He also held various public positions in the Macau government. After Chow's arrest, it triggered a quake in the Macau gaming intermediary industry, with many VIP gaming room groups scaling back their operations or planning to shut down. To date, the 3 wealthiest tycoons who came from Macau's VIP gaming sector, Chow, Chan Wing Lam, and Stanley Ho's son, Pansy Ho, have all fallen from power. According to Singtao Daily, a source revealed that Beijing launched a large-scale crackdown on Macau's 6 gambling halls, with Xi Jinping issuing 6 instructions. Commentator Yuan said that the arrests of Chow and others serve multiple purposes for the CCP leadership: cracking down on gambling money laundering, preventing capital outflows, pressuring Macau's gaming industry to hand over VIP customer lists to expose corrupt officials, targeting high-ranking officials who protect the gambling industry, and setting an example for common prosperity. Fundamentally, it is a case of black eating black, with Beijing using the crackdown to seize large sums of money, strengthen the party-state coffers, and purging Macau's political, business, and gaming elites in the process. Ultimately, this move aims to bring Macau's casinos under the party's control.